Wrongfully convicted, now victims again. A new law is supposed to bring justice to those failed by Michigan's justice system, paying back men and women locked up for crimes they did not commit. $50,000 for every year of lost freedom.
That's what they're supposed to get, but Target 8 is uncovering that more than a year after that law was enacted, only a handful of the wrongfully convicted have been paid. The state is fighting the rest of the claims with millions of dollars at stake.
Target 8 investigator Ken Kolker is here now with a story that you'll only see on 8. Ken?
Those fighting for the money say the state is re-victimizing the wrongfully convicted. In West Michigan, the list of exonerees whose claims are being fought includes some well-known names. Lorinda Swain of Calhoun County cleared of molesting her stepson after he recanted his story. That's her to Governor Snyder's left after he signed the bill to repay the wrongfully incarcerated. The state, though, is fighting her claim for $350,000. Tom Foley, now living in Kentwood, exonerated in the 2009 murder of his wife, Dee Dee. He's seeking $78,000. Comstock Park's Dennis Tomasic, locked up for 9 years after a troubled neighbor boy accused him of molesting him hundreds of times. The state is fighting his $450,000 claim.
It's just a slap in the face. It's just a number, I just been getting slapped so much, my head just bobbles, so.
Then there's David Gabot, cleared after spending 27 years in prison, most of his adult life, for the fiery deaths of his wife and 2 children in Ionia in 1985. A conviction based on what is now considered junk arson science.
They were my life, every one of them. I miss them dearly.
Lawmakers pointed to Gabot's case as a reason for the law. But now the state is fighting his claim for nearly $1.4 million. You're the poster child for this law, and they're fighting it.
Yeah.
Target 8 dug through all 35 of the claims filed so far by the exonerated, including 11 wrongfully convicted as killers. So far, the state has paid only 5 claims for a total of $4.2 million. Quentin Carter is the only West Michigan exoneree the state has paid. $817,000 for 16 years in prison for a rape he did not commit. A judge has dismissed 9 cases, some after the state attorney general claimed that they were filed too late.
I don't think we anticipated the AG's office being as zealous in fighting it.
Under the new law sponsored by Senator Stephen Beda, a Detroit area Democrat, exonerees were given a year and a half to file in the state court of claims. It's clearly spelled out in the law. A Target 8 analysis found that they all met that deadline, but the AG instead pointed to a separate law that gives only 6 months to file claims against the state, and the judge agreed.
I thought it was a real miscarriage of justice.
An AG spokeswoman defended her office.
There's millions of taxpayer dollars at stake here, and we have a responsibility to be good stewards of those dollars.
To think $50,000 per year is so grossly inadequate, and then to get your teeth kicked in by the attorney generals who are fighting every step of the way, it just heaps insult on insult.
Detroit area attorney Wolf Mueller has filed 9 of the cases, but only 2 have been paid.
I can get worked up. Because I'm the boots on the ground. I'm seeing what's happening, how these guys are getting screwed again.
The law says just being exonerated is not enough. They've got to prove it was new evidence that set them free.
How can I prove my innocence when there wasn't a crime committed?
David Gabot, a husband, a father, and a factory worker with no criminal history. Until March 1985, when fire broke out at his family's home in Ionia. Gabot, then 26, escaped with burns and cuts that sent him to the hospital.
Trying to save my family.
Burn patterns proved it was arson that killed his wife Angela and their 2 young children, and a jury agreed. He lost his family and his freedom for life without parole. Are you thinking, this is where I'm going to die?
Mm-hmm. Thought about that a lot, yeah.
But a Michigan Innocence Clinic expert determined that arson ruling was based on junk science. Prosecution experts agreed. The head of the Michigan Innocence Clinic was there when Gabot was set free in 2012. Their first stop, the cemetery where Gabot's family is buried.
Cried a lot. Talked to my wife and my daughters. It still hurts. Probably always will.
Gabot turned 60 soon, has remarried. Last May, he filed that claim for nearly $1.4 million, $50,000 for each of his 27 years locked up. As the poster child, when the law got passed, did you expect the state to write you out a check?
Pretty much. That's how I was told it was going to be.
Instead, the state says while the junk science argument was enough to set him free, it isn't enough to get him paid.
Unfortunately, the Attorney General's office has put up every legal roadblock. They've tried to argue every technical objection they can to compensating people.
For Dennis Tomasic, a tooling engineer with no criminal history, the worst part of 9 years in prison didn't happen behind bars. It's what he missed. His kids growing up, 9 Christmases, all those birthdays, proms, graduations, teaching his daughter to drive, his son's wedding, then the death of his mom.
I missed ever seeing my mom, holding her in my arms one more time before she left this earth.
Even with the support of his neighbors, a jury convicted him after a troubled neighborhood boy had accused Tomasic of repeatedly raping him. The state Supreme Court overturned that, saying that the judge in his trial had made a mistake. After a second trial last year with new attorneys and 22 new witnesses, a jury took just 20 minutes to find him not guilty. But the AG argues that Tomasic cannot get paid because no matter what happened in that second trial, it was a technicality, not new evidence, that first got his case overturned. A court of claims judge agreed, dismissing Tomasic's $450,000 claim. He's sitting at home right now,
Sure.
an innocent man.
Sure. We haven't said that we don't believe him. We've said you need to prove to the court through evidence that you are not guilty.
You have to prove your innocence with new evidence.
We already did that. 12 jurors did that.
Just do the right thing and let's just, close, so I can close this chapter of my life and go on.
Now, David Gabot has a hearing in June over his $1.4 million claim, while Tomasic has appealed to the State Court of Appeals. Also, the senator who wrote the law is working on changes he hopes will lead to more compensation.